Jeff, thanks for being with us today. Before we get into the meat of ERP and where tech is in manufacturing, why don't you tell us about exactly what Rooted In is and what you hope to accomplish this week?
Yeah, happy to. So Rooted In is kind of our customer conference that really focuses on bringing our customers, our partners, and our internal resources together for several days where they can all learn from each other. So lots of different tracks, business tracks, technology tracks, dozens of different partners here, over 100 different customers here that are all here to learn from each other, right? And I think that's the primary thing is it's about learning. It's about getting to know each other, how each other are using technology, not just Rootstock, but lots of different technology, because that's how manufacturers get better, is learning from each other. And so we've created an event that's brought the largest literal number of manufacturers on the Salesforce platform together in one spot over a consecutive number of days. So they're going to be able to learn from each other, not just from us, but from each other and our partners. And that's kind of the exciting part of having everybody down here in New Orleans is, that we get afforded the opportunity, honestly, to bring this group of people together that they can learn from each other.
The manufacturing industry getting more and more technologically savvy, if I could put it that way, especially as a new generation comes in. If you're talking the small, mid-sized shops, the mom and pops, when that second generation comes in, that's usually when they kick it in.
Yep.
Where do you see, in your position, where do you see tech in manufacturing right now? And more specifically, where do you think that's headed in relationship to ERP?
So I've got the benefit of 30 years of doing this. So, all the way back in the early 90s, I was doing ERP, MRP2 all the way back then, and helping companies just get off of spreadsheets and, just kind of plotters and everything else where they're spending today. They've modernized enough of this, kind of standard business process, the order to cash and the procure to pay. But now what they really need to do with technology is they got to operationalize the next level of that. So how do they predict what they should be ordering? How do they make sure that their safety stock levels aren't higher than what they're supposed to be? How do they know which vendors give them the right level of quality in a predictable manner? And that's the next level of technology. Isn't just that they can take an order, that they can order the inventory, that they can plan a job on that shop floor, that they can execute that job on the shop floor, but what should they be doing? And what's the order that they should be doing it in? And then more importantly, what's going to give them the either lowest cost from an operational perspective or the highest revenue and yield from the profit perspective? So that's where technology is going to lead them, right? So when I think about mid-sized and SMB manufacturers, it's really about how are they taking advantage of technology, not just to do kind of what I call the core blocking and tackling, right? To use a metaphor around a sport, right? But how are they actually building a playbook that takes them to the next level, right? That actually gives them a competitive advantage, right? And I think that that's really where technology is headed. And, and I think that's the fun part about what we're going to talk about this week is we're going to talk about how, the internet of, kind of the internet of things and, AI as an example, what are you going to do with it? Well, AI is interesting, but it's only interesting if it actually yields value in your business. And so we're going to talk about that this week and help our customers, and our partners are going to do a lot of this with us. We got customers that are already doing this, and they're going to talk about it and how a manufacturer should really think about, how do I think about, the industry 4.0, but how do I think about it in terms of signal chaining, right? Where my demand is literally going to tell me what my supply is supposed to be, but it's going to tell me about it well in advance, because I'm able to predict that. And that's really what AI is going to do, but you got to have the right data for it. And all of that coalesces around us on the Salesforce platform, where we're able to pull all of that together, Us, Salesforce, the rest of the manufacturing ecosystem on Salesforce, And we can provide a platform of opportunity that our customers get to take advantage of that almost no other vendor out there can really provide.
You talked a lot about AI there. I've had some people that I've talked to said that AI is just in like 5 to 10 years, it's just going to be there and nobody's going to be having this big uproar about it. Specifically on that, how do you see that affecting manufacturing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, because I think it is. I think it's, it's going to evolve, and it's going to evolve pretty quickly. I think a lot of it is today, a lot of people think it's going to be really disruptive as opposed to just additive, right? It's going to be additive, right? It's what we're going to look for is, I think predominantly in manufacturing is going to create predictive modeling. Like we're literally be able to look at, hey, what's our customer demand going to look like over the next 6 to 8 months? How's that going to impact our supply? How is that going to impact our vendors' ability to be able to deliver? And then ultimately, how does that all together impact our ability to commit to delivery timeframes, right? So if you're a manufacturer, AI it's not going to replace your employees, right? It's going to add to your ability to actually just run your business more predictably, right? So I don't see AI in manufacturing really as a subtractive technology. I see it as an additive technology. Like it's going to add a lot of capabilities into a manufacturer to understand themselves a lot better, right? Because it's going to be able to learn from what the manufacturer has done in the past. And that's really today where AI is mostly at, is it learns, and it learns based on the past, right? Doesn't really try to predict the future without new data, right? It has to have the data that happened previously, and then it uses that data, right? And it basically helps you understand what the future might look like. Still going to require a lot of humans to ask the right questions. What do I want to know? I want to know, what should my demand look like coming down the road if I'm a retailer, right, or I'm a manufacturer that builds for the retail industry. Man, I really want to know what I think that demand's going to look like in the next 4 months, because I got to build ahead of it. Like I can't be building for the Christmas season without knowing what the Christmas season is going to look like, right? So AI can help me better understand that based on past data, my data and other people's data, right? So I think it's a very additive technology. I think a lot of people talk about AI as a subtractive technology, and I don't buy into that for manufacturing.
Yeah. Like I mentioned before, our core audience for our magazine and our podcast is the small to mid-range manufacturer, job shops, that type thing. How does Rootstock, of course, sitting on Salesforce, how is that going to help the small to mid-range? And is it cost effective for them?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think that just steps into, I spent, like I said, about 30 years in the manufacturing space and bringing technology into, the small mom and pops, the SMB and the mid-market. And I think the number one thing that Rootstock does there is it helps you organize yourself. It just helps you better understand what's in front of you. Like you're going to understand all of your orders. You're going to understand what it is that you made yesterday, what it is you're supposed to make tomorrow, right? You're going to have a better understanding of your financial situation. Like how much money do all of your customers owe you? How much money do you owe all of your vendors? What's the most expensive vendor that you have? What's the most expensive inventory that you're carrying? Is there a way that you could lower the amount of that expensive inventory, right? It's, what's the most important job that I'm supposed to be working on right now today, right? It's all of that, which is just understanding your business better, right? And doing it consistently day in and day out, right? And I think Rootstock brings that at a very, very cost-effective price point, right? I think that price point that we bring it in is, very, very normalized for the industry, right? I don't think we're a premium price. I think we're right where we're supposed to be in order to help a customer get there. I think the thing that's super important to recognize about Rootstock is we're built on the Salesforce platform, which means Salesforce is really like, we get the benefit of their investment on all of that technology stack. A lot of the people that we compete with, they have to build that technology stack for themselves. And that means that you're going to pay for that, right? For us, right, we take advantage of the Salesforce platform, which also there's a protection in there, right? Because Salesforce is the largest enterprise software company in the world, right? They're not going anywhere, so we're not going anywhere, right? We're built on that platform, which means our customers, right, your right audience, right, can trust in that longevity, as opposed to, do you have to worry about, well, what's that vendor spending money on in order to stay technically current? Salesforce is doing that for us, right? And we get to take advantage of that. And that means that we spend all of our dollars from the R&D perspective building manufacturing functionality, right? We don't spend our dollars building technology and infrastructure capability. We take advantage of our partner for that, and then we get to spend all of our R&D dollars actually on innovation in the manufacturing world. And that's what all of your audience would get to take advantage of.
Good. Sort of refocusing on the conference here.
Yeah.
Who are some of your key partners that are here, and what do you hope that they will bring to the mix?
Yeah. So most of our partner community is really around manufacturing expertise and helping people do digital transformation. Obviously, our core partner is Salesforce, and they're here with us. But like Deloitte, as an example, right? They have a significant practice around digital transformation in manufacturing, right? And that's helping companies really transform their business. But we got other companies, Alto and Praxis, as an example, where they are kind of on the shop floor, if you will, right? Where they get in there and they really work with the customers to look at the manufacturing operations and what's the best way to deploy technology in order to get the best value, the best return, if you will, on the investment that the company made. So, there's roughly about 20 partners that are here this week that, kind of cover everything from implementation services to integration services to differentiated technology that, they're all in attendance, but they're all here for the same purpose, which is really to help our customers get the most value out of the total digital experience that they've invested in. And that's a combination of us, Salesforce, and other, capabilities that are on that Salesforce platform. And so I think the primary focus that when I think about our ecosystem isn't that we've just brought a random collection of people together. It's we've really brought a collection of manufacturing experts together. And that's what they're good at, is helping manufacturers get the best out of their technology investments.
There's a few companies out there, just off the top of my head, I think of, you got Xometry, you got paperless parts. There's I think a new one called Fictive that help with the sourcing and the estimating. Is that type of service something that can be integrated into Rootstock?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the beauties of our platform is how malleable it is from an integration perspective. That we're going to be open to any technology, whether it's built on the Salesforce platform or not. And I think that's something to be really clear about is, we work with basically any technology player that's out there. And we even integrate with some of the big boys where, we're just we're going to be a shop installation for somebody that's running SAP Financials or Oracle Financials, but we integrate with them. But we integrate across a lot of different technology partners. Now, if that technology partner happens to be on the Salesforce platform, that just makes it all the easier for us, right? Because that's seamless, because we all deploy into what Salesforce calls an org, right? The organization. And so we all get to deploy in that same org, and because we're all deployed in that same spot, that integration becomes much easier to orchestrate. There's always a little bit of work, right? Nothing ever comes free, right? That's true in all technology, right? But it just gets a lot easier because we all run on the same platform. We all run in the same org. And that just makes it so that not only does that interconnectivity happen a little bit easier, but you also just wind up with a more stable integration over time. And I think that's really important in terms of when we think about the aggregate manufacturing ecosystem that's on Salesforce, right? That's just a really deep capability that naturally works easier together than if you're trying to piece that together through a lot of disparate different technology companies that are out there where you got to own figuring out how to put that platform together. And if I circle all of that back to what we were talking about earlier, which is eventually when you're getting to AI and predictive, you got to have a common data platform, period. Like no AI works in a disparate AI platform. It just doesn't. Like it has to learn from, right, a data platform that's been aggregated for it. Well, if you're running your entire manufacturing business on the Salesforce manufacturing ecosystem, all that data is going to be right there for you. So you're actually going to take advantage of something that is going to be really hard for your competition if your competition actually pieced it all together across a whole bunch of disparate technology, and then they're left trying to figure out, well, where do I put all that data? And I guess I'm on the hook to try to figure that out.
Well, listen, I hope y'all have a really successful week. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
So appreciate it, Jeff.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right.